Toast.
Hello.
Toasting.
Welcome.
Toasting. Sorry.
Toasting. Hello. Hello, and welcome to the Dopio podcast. My name is Emil, and I am a dude. And I am joined today by my two lovely co-hosts.
Hi, I'm Castleman. I'm a filmmaker, production designer, director from Georgia.
Hi, I'm Renzo. Roar! That's my Godzilla scream. I don't know.
And today is a very special day for the Dopio podcast because today we are joined by a very special guest, our very good friend. Would you like to introduce yourself, mystery guest?
Oh boy, of course. Hi, my name is Diego. I'm a film student from Lima, Peru, and it's a blast to be here with Emil, Castleman, and Renzo.
We should mention that we call you Goji. We've known Goji for many years at this point, all of us, and we've just kind of referred to you as that for a while. But we do know your name is Diego.
Yes.
Of course.
Just letting you know
on the
that.
podcast, are we calling him Diego or Goji?
Well, it's sort of like how with Renzo, I kind of swap between Renzo and Kafka. It's just whatever feels right in the moment.
And
but I'm
of course
letting the
Renzo
audience know.
and of course Renzo calls me Joseph sometimes. So
Yeah, I do that too.
I guess they just have to keep track of all our names. We're men of many names. That's just how we are on this podcast.
Pretty much. So, if you couldn't guess by the title, the extremely long title of this video, or the fact that we have a guest named Goji, we're talking today about Godzilla. But not just Godzilla. We got Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah in Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All-Out Attack.
Never see it coming.
That's probably like one of the longest names for any movie.
Is this the
I've heard
nerdiest
longer.
title? Is this the nerdiest title for a Godzilla movie?
Yeah. This is like, I feel like this movie, I'm sure it was really, really hard just being someone that watches Godzilla movies and this when this was in theaters and just telling your friends like, hey guys, do you want to go watch Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack in theaters? Like, I would say no. If I was proposed that, I would say no, personally. Not knowing what this movie was about.
But if you're part of like the nerd circle, probably they would. You would.
So, go ahead, Castleman.
I had never heard of this movie until Goji said he wanted to cover it for the podcast. So, I this is a new experience for me.
So let's give a little backstory on how this came to be and how we came to watch this movie. Because honestly, I don't think I would have watched this movie under any other circumstances. If I'm being entirely honest with you, chat. So we wanted to do a podcast episode with Goji, really bad. And he's the Godzilla guy, and it just so happens that around this, I think next week, the new Godzilla vs. Kong movie comes out. Godzilla X Kong, the one with the really bad title.
Yeah,
that sounds like fan
fiction.
fiction.
This isn't versus. They're not gonna fight. They're gonna fuck, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
And
the
it's going to
implication.
create a new empire. It's going to create a new empire.
It's gonna be a new empire full of risk.
It's gonna create a Hollow Earth.
Who knew that Kong was the Lisan Al Gaib?
All along. See, it comes back to Dune or the Oscars, guys. I'm telling you, one of these two things. So, all this to say, we wanted to do a themed episode. We wanted to do a themed episode for Godzilla. And we wanted to do an episode with Goji, so we asked Goji, of all the Godzilla movies, knowing we haven't, the three of us have notoriously not seen that many Godzilla movies, but loved -1.
And Shin
should we
Godzilla.
watch? And Shin Godzilla. What should we watch? So this is what Goji picked for us. But let's hear it from the man himself. Goji, why did you think we would want to watch this movie? That sounded aggressive. I meant it in a non-aggressive way. I will say
no,
I did enjoy myself watching this movie. I don't want to seem like that. But what about this movie where it was like,
Goji,
this is the one?
Just I think it's time for the podcast where we just talk about some quick upfront thoughts on the movie. Yeah, why this one?
well, the reason why I pick Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monster Saga of Attack, or to put it more abbreviated, GMK, is because I think of it's one of the most thematically important Godzilla films in the franchise because I think it does like a mix of how the original film tried to tackle the nuclear metaphor aspect of the character, but this time with a more mystical spin on it, alongside with Mothra, King Ghidorah, and Paragon. Also has um the the kaiju action that most people are familiar with Godzilla, and I think of all the Godzilla films, this is one of the best in terms of like mixing human story and the giant monsters fighting because the story, well, it's about this woman, Yuri, that she initially starts like just like a blogger and not many people seem to take her blogs seriously. But then everything it starts to change when there's earthquakes, there's a giant monster in the in attacking in some places, and people are realizing that it is Godzilla. But before that happened, people were assuming that Godzilla was dead and that he's not that big of a deal. But then he arrives alongside other monsters, and that's when the shit starts hitting the fan. And and not only that, but it's a Godzilla that is not like any other version of the character before because most versions of the character usually are very like an anti-hero. Godzilla is very much kind of like Vegeta in some ways. Like he fights other monsters that are more villainous than him, but he will also destroy the city and human sides as well. But he doesn't usually do it because he's directly evil. It's just that he hates humans because of the nukes, because he got nuked back in World War II. And there's another version of Godzilla like the 60s, 70s when he changes as the films go by. He becomes more heroic. But this Godzilla, I haven't seen minus one yet. That I will make that clear from anyone that is seeing the podcast. I haven't seen minus one yet. So I will say this is to me the most ruthless, mean bastard version of Godzilla of all films so far. Not
Hey
including minus one
Goji.
yet.
Hey Goji, do you know a fun fact? You want to
Yeah.
know a fun fact about this? So, Takashi Yamazaki, the director of Godzilla Minus One, has stated that GMK is actually one of his favorite Godzilla movies, and I think he was actually inspired by this one as well. So that's a interesting fact that I'd like to share with you about GMK.
Wow, Kafka, that's a really interesting fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I actually read that I think 1 or 2 weeks ago, and
Hmm.
seeing the trailers for minus one, I think it shows that GNK was very influential to minus one because of how ruthless Godzilla looks like in the trailers, and it, and I can't wait to see the film. Like I can't wait to see how the minus one version and the GNK version can contest with each other.
Hmm. So I have a question. So, what did you rate this movie?
So
What?
I think I had this question Before we give our number ratings, I think it'd be fun to go based off our scale that we established in the previous episodes.
Oh
Okay.
no!
Okay.
So,
Alright,
so
is this gonna become a thing? Are we gonna have to explain Goji the rating system?
I want to make this a thing, Councilman. I want to make this a thing.
Okay,
Let me make it
alright.
a thing.
Okay, so
Okay.
we're really doing this we're going forward. We're
Yeah.
doing this now. Okay.
We're doing this now. I'm committing to this now from this podcast. So do we give this? And of course, this is modular. If you have a feeling on this movie that these ratings don't really fit, I'm very open to hearing your suggestions for new ratings. But right
Okay.
now, if you don't like the movie, it's a Jimmy Kimmel type 5. If you're new,
For
a
context,
Jimmy Kimmel
Goji,
type 5.
a type 5 is a comedian doing 5 minutes of stand-up, and it's like premiere material they have prepared. So the Jimmy Kimmel type 5 is our lowest rating.
5 minutes of Jimmy Kimmel's time coming to your house, giving you comedy.
Yeah,
That's the lowest
insulting you to your face.
Yeah. So if you're like kind of neutral on it, it's Fox and the Hound VHS.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I handed you a Fox and the Hound VHS on it, you'd probably feel nothing, right?
Yeah.
So, and then if you liked it, then that's a movie tote bag movie.
Yeah.
So I think actually Renzo should go last because I have no fucking clue what his opinion is on this movie. and he was teasing it before the podcast. So let's give him his dramatic reveal. Let's let him go last. Councilman, do you want to go first?
Sure. I additions to the podcast, I will say, like, both Jimmy Kimmel Type 5 and Fox and the Hound VHS were ratings I made up off the top of my head. I don't know where they came from. Anyway. Also, I think we've also established that IMAX baseball cap is also in the upper end of the tier.
Yeah.
I think it's on a similar level of movie tote bags, but just for movies that are more requiring of the IMAX baseball cap, like an Oppenheimer or a Dune Part 2.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Godzilla, Godzilla, Mothra, GHIDORA, giant monsters all out attack. Is that the right title? Did I say something out of order?
Just you can call it GMK.
No. Excuse me, Castleman. The government name is Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, giant monsters all out attack.
Okay. All right. Cool. It's a movie that I think I should explain my context with Godzilla, because I know you're a big Godzilla fan, and I can see why, like, watching this as a big Godzilla fan, it might be a different experience than watching it as me. I think important context for me, I haven't seen that many Godzilla films. In fact, like, before a few years ago, I hadn't seen any. It's just been, everyone has like their blind spots in terms of, films, and especially in terms of film series with such historic and long-lived series as Godzilla. Like I think I the first one I saw was the original one, 1954, and I've also seen the Roland Emmerich one. And I'd seen the legendary newer ones, the ones with 2014 Godzilla onwards. That was about it until last year. Then I think was that at your request, Emil? I watched Shin Godzilla for you guys. And
Yes.
that was pretty good. Maybe by the same guy who did Evangelion and Hideaki Anno.
Foreshadowing.
Is it foreshadowing if we just say that's foreshadowing? Anyway, so that was a good movie, and then I saw Godzilla -1, and I was like fucking blown away. Like, I went in that movie just not really expecting anything. I thought the original was every Godzilla up to that point I just thought was pretty good at the most, even Shin Godzilla. And then that movie just kind of like just completely gave me a nuclear blast of good filmmaking. And so that's my perspective of Godzilla. So I'm not familiar with a lot. And like, if you notice, like, I've seen everything like from like American made, and I've also seen like, and then I've seen Shin Godzilla and -1. But between Shin Godzilla and the original Godzilla, there's this enormous gap in terms of my knowledge of the filmmaking and styles and conventions we expect in a Godzilla movie. And generally, I just so when you suggested this movie, the good thing about this movie, I'd say, is that it's a direct sequel to the original. It's almost like Halloween 2018. It ignores a bunch of sequels and it goes right to the point, so I didn't have to worry about catching up on a lot of stuff. And I will say, I give this movie I'm afraid I'm gonna have to give this movie a Fox and the Hound VHS. I'd say it's closer to a movie tote bag than a Jimmy Kimmel Type 5. But I just kind of feel that there's like extensions of this where maybe if I was more locked into the lore and the styles of filmmaking that are present in Godzilla films, maybe I would have loved this way more. But at the moment, it just I think the best thing I can say is just wasn't quite 100% for me. But I did really respect this movie. But yeah, I give it a Fox and the Hound VHS / 2.5 stars. Yeah, and that's I have more to say, but moving on to you, Emil.
Thank you for the baton pass, Castleman, because I am also in the Foxhound VHS on this one. Also closer to a movie tote. Actually, I'd say probably closer to like an IMAX tote bag. I feel like this would be a cool or an IMAX cap. I feel like this would be a cool movie to watch on a big screen. But yeah, I also have not had as much experience with Godzilla as I would have liked to. I've seen the original, I've seen the 98 version, and I've seen like the newer ones from the new American made ones, Shin Godzilla
Monsterverse.
-1. So pretty much the same ones. Yeah, the Monsterverse. But I'm also a really big Angry Video Game Nerd fan and James Roll fan generally. So he's a really big Godzilla guy, and I watch like all his videos. So like I know a lot about Godzilla just through the periphery. And I'm very fascinated by him as a character, especially as someone who has studied Japanese culture and the Japanese language. It's something that's very ingrained in modern Japanese cinema, and something that I really admire and respect a lot. So, and I always have a good time watching a Godzilla movie. I just never know which ones to start because it is like overwhelming looking at the different eras. But GMK, I will say, it felt like it had a lot of really cool ideas, but the pacing was just like really bad for me, honestly. Like the human story just wasn't interesting enough to like really grasp me the way that Godzilla -1 did, and it just took way too long to for the story to kind of get going.
I'm in the same boat with you. Like the first like I don't know, like 25 minutes, I was just like, "Where's the all-out attack?" I
like okay, I'll say, you know, Castleman and Renzo both usually don't really text during their movies, but when both of them texted our group chat while they were watching this movie, like saying, "Oh, I'm like 40 minutes in," like both of you did that separately, like, which I thought was really funny. And you don't usually do that, so I will say that. I feel like this movie was. If I had watched a couple more Godzilla movies before this, like if I had watched a couple of other ones like from the earlier eras, and if I had done the proper homework and preparation, I probably would have gotten a lot more out of it. But it kind of felt like watching like an anime movie without having seen the anime.
I think that's a perfect comparison, actually. Yeah, on the money.
Yeah.
So I'll baton pass to Goji. Oh, I gave it a 2.5 as well, by the way.
Yeah, I think that's very valid as well. Like maybe as an introduction, I seen a lot of people usually recommend the GNK for the introduction to introducing Godzilla fans, and what rewatching it again, I would say this. I usually agree with that as well, that you can introduce someone to the franchise with this movie. But rewatching it yesterday, I love it. I still think it's a great Godzilla film, but Yeah, maybe I could introduce fans of the franchise with other films before watching this one because, as you guys mentioned, I think the lore it can be help even more if if people have watched other Godzilla films before it. Like for example, I bring this film from the 60s, Mothra versus Godzilla. I think that's a fantastic introduction to the to how Godzilla and Mothra started fighting each other. Like that's the first film where they fight each other, and also the next that is after that is Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster, which I think is a kind of similar to GMK in terms of the monster roster, except that it replaced Baragon with Rodan. You know, the monster that is flying in King of the Monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm.
and well, in that one, Godzilla very much he changes from being a destructive monster to a protector of the earth, and Ghidorah in that film is the evil monster. So it's very
Yeah.
much a reverse GMK.
Yeah.
Reverse GMK. But yeah,
So
I think. Continue, Emil. Don't worry.
no, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Uh, and well, I think one of the reasons I actually like the film about is the mystical angle that the film shares, because not many films in the franchise use the mystical perspective with the monsters. Like
Mm.
before GMK, I could probably say the 1954 film comes close because the way the Odo Iceland characters see Godzilla as more of a god, like a deity, like someone to fear. And then probably from the Heisei era, maybe I could single out um oh well, not Heisei era, I mean Showa era, I could single out Mothra versus Godzilla, but instead of Godzilla, Mothra is seen as a goddess, but in a good way. More like someone that can save humans. But this one, I found it interesting about the angle that it tackles with Godzilla being this revenge, like a metaphor from people that died in World War II, wanting to avenge because they were forgotten. And what I thought was interesting about it is that it's actually kind of real, because there was a time in like in the 90s that there was this political party called Japan New Party, which wanted to bring back more positive positive revisionism to what happened in World War II, and rejecting like Japan being a pacifistic nation. So the director of the film, Chusuke Kaneko, that this is not his first monster film. Like he did a trilogy with this other monster called Gamera.
Gamera. Yeah, I'm aware of
Gamera.
Gamera. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm aware of that.
he did a trilogy of
Also,
films in the
this
90s.
didn't this director direct the Japanese live action Death Note movies?
Yeah, yeah, he
Oh no
directed
way!
I did
Yeah,
not
no,
know
I was
that.
like looking at him up earlier.
I did
directed the
not know that.
Wow.
2006 film. Yeah, so this body called Nippon Kaigi was were pretty much like trying to do patriotism to Japan and all, and GNK was pretty much like a response to that. Like those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it again. And like while the thesis of the film is probably a flash one, it's also one that was shared by the composer of the series, like from the 50s, Akira Ifukube, with the original Godzilla, because I remember him saying that the terrors of the times was such that people thought Godzilla might be the symbol of the spirits of the departed soldiers at sea. And seeing this version of Godzilla destroying things, and not only things, like he directly kills people in a gruesome way. Like outside the original and Shin, and from what I seen -1, the way Godzilla destroys locations and human citizens is particularly nasty in this film. Like, there's a lot of debris that falls on people, and there's even a scene when Godzilla is like just walking around, and there's a woman that screams, and he hears it and he gets annoyed, so he blasts not only the woman but also a lot of people. And the next scene, which has a woman teacher with the kids. They're about to evacuate, but then the earthquake, there's a shake in the earth, and what they see next is the aftermath of the atomic breath that Godzilla does in that sequence, which looks like an atomic bomb. And when I saw the film, I for the first time years ago, I thought, holy fuck! Like that's in a scene
This is
that is. I thought it goes hard. I would say that it goes hard
so
because like oh no,
so
continue.
it's based. No. So it's basically like even like as a kid, then like it like really blew you away, which is nice.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I understood the symbolism of that scene, which is like bringing the past back to the present because people forgetting it and treating it like it was such a like thing. And that's and that was like I realized that there's a consequences from that, like forgetting the past and not learning to improve from it. And wow, like I imagine like Kafka, when you mentioned the -1 was inspired by GMK, I will not be surprised like, when I watch the film, there's a little bit of that GMK, not only in terms of like how Godzilla is portrayed, but also react to Godzilla. I couldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of GMK in that in -1.
Oh,
Oh, awesome.
I did see it. I actually saw it like when I don't want to spoils, but there was a particular shot in this movie where I was like, ah, I see Yamazaki wanted that shot to be in his -1 movie.
So
I was
So
Renzo,
basically like I saw
you've
that one.
been kind of like Renzo,
wait,
you've
hold
been all
on, hold on,
secretive.
Mhm.
hold on. We haven't gotten Goji's score yet.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
Goji, what's your score?
Oh yeah, I give it the IMAX score.
Ah, yeah, all right. IMAX
So
baseball
you give
cap.
it an IMAX baseball cap. All right, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and like I could pay to watch it in IMAX with a better resolution because the link when I saw the film, it makes it look like a DVD from the 2000s. So
Mm,
I wish my copy had better quality myself.
mhm.
from what I read,
Allegedly.
there's not a
Allegedly.
4K resolution of the film. So I hope that with the momentum the -1 has, I hope Toho what watch some of the Godzilla films that don't have a more modern resolution, and they go like, we need to update this shit.
There's
Physical
probably a
media is
Blu-ray out there.
important. You need to release old movies on Blu-ray. Like, and this isn't the first Japanese movie I've wanted released on Blu-ray. Like, release this movie on Blu-ray. Also release One Piece the Island of Barano Matsuri
Baranomatsuri.
on Blu-ray too. Please.
Yeah. Shout out to the place where I allegedly bought a bootleg copy of that movie from.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I mean, you
Allegedly.
can't buy a real version of it.
I just
Okay, Renzo.
magically found it on the street.
Yeah. I mean, who can fault you for that? So Renzo, you've been all cagey about this film, and we're like, I don't know, we're something like 29 minutes into this podcast episode, and you haven't really given us any juice. So,
There's the sauce,
so I think
Kafka.
it's about time you start
Sauce.
squeezing that fruit, man. Give us some of
Okay.
that.
Come on.
So
The
Give us
sauce.
the sauce.
thank you. So this is not a Fox and Hound VHS movie.
Oh.
This is also not a movie tote bag movie. I would say this is a to-be tote bag movie.
Oh, okay.
I
Cool.
actually like this movie. I thought this movie was really good. It's not the most mind-blowing Godzilla movie ever made, but I did have a lot of fun with it. I actually felt very nostalgic with GMK. It kind of brought me back memories when I was a kid. I would turn on the TV every Saturday, and there would be like an action movie or something really fun playing at the television. And this movie was kind of like that. It was like that kind of brought me back to my memories. That's why I actually like it. It's a to-be tote bag movie, so my rating for this movie would probably be at 3.5 stars. I like it.
Can you explain what to be tote bag movie means to you?
Well, to-be tote bag is basically it's it's an okay movie, an enjoyable movie. It's not something that I would go back like ahead of time. But if I see it on TV or playing somewhere, I'll watch it. So that's the to-be tote bag. Plus, to-be has like a lot of selections. They also put all the Godzilla movies on to-be. Not sure now, but they used to be on to-be.
Mm.
So yeah, so back from this movie, in my experience of every Godzilla movie, because of this one, having seen GMK, I've realized that I've seen every Godzilla movie. Well, not all of them. I've seen a Godzilla from every era of Godzilla. So there's the Showa era, the Heisei era, the Millennium era, which GMK has, and the Reiwa era, which is the era that we're currently at, that has Shin and -1. So going into GMK, I kind of had the expectations on what it was going to be like. Like each era has like a different like feeling, but it's very much closer to like Heisei and Showa. So by the time when I was watching GMK, I never felt bored because I knew what was I was expecting. But I will say, I do think this movie was 10 minutes long, or like longer. Like I wish, like if they cut those 10 minutes, could have been tighter. Maybe I could have given this one like a 4 star. Maybe my rating would have changed. I've also forgot to mention the music in this movie is actually pretty good. I like how
Oh,
he
I
did
agree.
it, right?
I have that written down as a note. The score of this movie is a banger. Actually, it's my
Yeah,
favorite thing about it.
it didn't have to rely too much on the Godzilla theme, which I did like as well. What's the other one? Oh, Baragon. So Baragon, I actually got attached to this one. They the that I got introduced at. The first monster that Godzilla fights in this movie. Baragon might be one of the cutest kaijus that I've ever seen. When Godzilla
Yeah.
was beating the crap out of Baragon, I was kind of getting sad. I'm like, come on.
Agree.
Dude, it was
Well,
hilarious. That was a hilariously comical fight.
It was, but because the design of Baragon was so cute, I was kind of feeling like, what? No,
I was
come
like,
on,
yeah,
bro.
fuck him up. Fuck him
What-
up, Godzilla. Fuck him
come
up.
on, come on.
Okay, I'll be honest.
oh.
I hated Baragon. I thought he looked so
Baragon was
stupid.
so cute. What are you talking
I didn't think he was
about?
cute. He looked disturbing and weird. I didn't like him at all.
What?
I love
I
I
felt
love that.
sad. I felt sad for Baragon.
Me too.
I was
me
glad
too.
when he died.
I would say
Yeah.
I kind of laughed at when before Godzilla killed him with his final atomic breath, then he was closing his eyes because he got beaten by Godzilla, and then when he opens, he's like, "Oh, what the fuck!" And then Godzilla blasts him, and that's when he kills him. And then, oh, poor guy! But also his reaction when Godzilla was about to finish him, he was hilarious.
Dude, this guy gets fucking killed by Godzilla, man. Like personally, like not even like in like a casualty like in a city. This guy gets fucking like choke slammed by Godzilla. Like,
No, when Godzilla was
like-
kicking Baragon, I was kind of like, oh.
dude, like I was like, damn, bro, calm down. Like,
Yeah.
it was intense, man. It was like intense. Like I felt bad for. Um,
Godzilla is so fucking ruthless
But-
in this
but
film.
I wanna go back to something Kafka said about this movie feeling very nostalgic because
Mhm.
one of my favorite things about this movie is that it just felt so like early millennium era. Like
Yeah.
not Godzilla millennium, like it just felt like 2000. Like when did this movie
Yeah.
come out? 2002.
2001.
This 2001. This feels like
Yeah.
2001. Like 2001 is like distilled into a movie. So this came out before Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Came out the year Fellowship of the Ring came out.
Oh
There you go.
yeah.
And Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
There you go.
Well, this came out the year I first started seeing movies in theaters.
Wow, Castleman. Why didn't you
Wow.
go as a baby to Japan to go watch this movie in theaters?
You could
I
have
think
seen
my
the
parents were
Hamtaro
more
short
interested in
film.
taking me to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone as my first movie.
they
I
were.
was
They
3,
didn't.
okay?
They weren't like, man, my 3-year-old child's gonna love Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, giant monsters all out attack.
Well, considering they never bothered to show me Godzilla movies when I was a kid,
Yeah,
it would be very weird if they just wanted to show me this.
like
Um,
specifically
Mothra.
this one.
I have to.
it,
Continue, customer. Don't worry.
anyway, while I'm talking, I actually have a couple notes I want to go through.
Okay, go
Okay.
ahead.
So I definitely disagree. I definitely agree with you on Neil on that it takes a while to get going. So I really, really like the central conceit of Godzilla being resurrected by the souls of dead people who are killed by the Japanese. Like, I think that idea is my favorite thing about the movie. Like, that is so cool.
Yeah.
I wanted a little more done with
I
it,
agree.
though. Like, that's like my thing. I thought that's such a good idea. I really loved everything that you said about that, Goji. I feel like I could really like this movie if they had gone further with it. Like, it almost felt like, because this is a big film that's going to be released to the Japanese public, they wanted to hold back on it a little bit. And I feel like if they had gone a little bit further, that would have been like the sauce to get me to really get into this movie. At the same time, like, I don't know. I didn't know. My problem with this also is like I didn't really know how much to be invested, because that idea right there, the one of the souls of the one Japan facing the consequences for what they did during World War II, like that's a really serious and awesome conceit to build it on. But this is a really goofy movie too, and
Yeah.
like that was like hard for me to like balance too. Yeah, so I think my thing is I just want a little bit more. And my biggest, most fundamental problem with this, I don't like the main character. Like, if more of this was focused on like fleshing out the three, the three fated guardian monsters to defeat Godzilla, if it did more with that stuff, and less on, oh, I'm a blogger and I'm gonna go straight into danger, and like she just does it so much. I was rooting for her to die. Like it's a thing where I think if you're gonna make one of these movies and you want us to care about the main character, then they should care about all the rampant destruction and horror happening around them instead of just wanting to film it for their notoriety. Like the main characters of Godzilla work -1 work so well because you actually feel the horror through their eyes. While this character, I think it fundamentally fails because I don't feel the horror through her. She doesn't scare at all. Like she just. I think that's the biggest problem with the movie, and I think that's the main thing keeping me from liking it is that she just doesn't. What's her purpose? Like she's like the daughter of like a army general or something, and oh no, it's I just could not. I tried. But I could not find it in me to give a shit about her, and I began rooting against her. And by the end, I just couldn't care, and I think I'm sorry, that's just the biggest thing keeping me from really liking this one. And I think the other thing that, and this isn't this movie's fault, is that the last Godzilla movie I watched was Godzilla -1, which does the human element the best of any Godzilla movie I've seen. So this might be a problem by comparison. If I go see some more Godzilla movies, especially, and then I come back on this movie, I'll see it a lot more fondly than if I'm coming off of, which in my eyes, from the limited amount of Godzilla films I've seen, is the best Godzilla film. And as we went over on our 2023 in film podcast, one of the best films of that year in general. Yeah.
James Rolfe also thinks that -1 is the best Godzilla movie, and he's seen
Well,
all of them.
Okay, well then I'm gonna need to look up his review because I do like me some James Rolfe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading the title for his review of -1, and I haven't seen the full video yet, so because I was thinking maybe he I hope he didn't wait with spoilers. But
Yeah, I mean, Goji, you gotta reserve yourself for -1 because it really is like one of the best Godzilla films out there, and
Oh yeah.
you can't spoil
Yeah.
your experience for that because you're gonna
Hashtag
go G
release
hard.
Godzilla -1 in Peru, so Goji
Yeah.
can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that even if there's not a theatrical release of -1 here in Peru, I hope there's just like in Shin Godzilla's case that the Blu-ray comes around and
Yeah.
I'll buy the Blu-ray and I'll watch it at home with my dad because my dad also wants to see -1. And
That's good.
And then I could love to talk with you guys about the film. I could love to because
You know what? Let's lock it in. The next time you're invited back on the podcast, we'll be talking about Godzilla -1. Is everyone down for that? Like a full.
I'm absolutely
Oh yeah,
down
me
for
too.
that.
Me too.
Yeah. All right. Hell yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Godzilla X Kong. Is anyone gonna see that one?
I might if
Yep.
I have free time. I may go to my local theater and check it out. I don't know.
I kind of like wanna
Mhm.
rewatch the MonsterVerse movies before I watch that one.
Mm-hmm.
Because I also haven't seen a couple of them. I haven't seen Skull Island.
Skull
Skull
Island is
Island's
the best
good.
one.
Oh really?
Skull Island's good.
Skull Island is great.
It's a great ride at Universal Studios.
It has Evangelion influence. Just saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I would say this, Emil. Like as much of a Godzilla fan I am, and I also love the legendary version of the character. I will say my favorite film with the MonsterVerse so far is Skull Island.
Skull Island.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Skull Island is the best one out of all of them. So
Okay, question for the class: Were you guys team for when Godzilla versus Kong came out? Were you guys Team Kong or Team Godzilla?
Team
Team
Godzilla.
I was Team Kong, I think.
I was also Team Kong.
I gotta support. I gotta support
giant
Asia, man.
Giant monkey.
I'm just saying,
Asia.
never bet against the giant monkey. That's all I'm saying.
But who lost? Okay, who lost in that one? Who lost in that fight?
Yeah, he got cooked.
I enjoyed that movie, but I forget who won.
Yeah, I forget.
Godzilla won with the fight. Godzilla won.
Okay.
Well, you know what? In my head, he didn't. So there you go.
I would say Kong ended up having a moment of his own because, like, remember the fight with Mechagodzilla?
I actually do remember the Mechagodzilla fight, and that was fucking awesome.
Oh, I do remember. I don't remember who won the fight, but I remember that Mechagodzilla showed up.
Yeah, I remember being like one of like only a couple people in an IMAX theater watching that, and my mind was just like blown because it was like like the first big IMAX movie right after the pandemic that I saw. I think in the theater, and I was like, it's so good.
My first IMAX movie after the pandemic was Tenet because I'm like one of the 3 people who went to go see it. When
it all comes back to Tenet. It all comes back to Tenet.
Dude, the plan.
Tenet. I missed my squad sauce an hour ago.
Tenet is a very special movie to the Doppio podcast, but that's a story for another time.
Yes.
Oh, I could also love to talk about Tenet.
In terms of story for another time, dude, does anyone have anything more to say about okay, Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, giant monsters all out attack?
I have 2 fun facts about the film.
Shoot ahead, bro.
There's a scene in the beginning when the military is talking about Godzilla, what he did in 1954, and then they mentioned that there was another monster in 1998, the people thought that it was Godzilla, and then
Are-
there's this soldier that is like, "Oh, it was
Wait,
Godzilla."
are you
Yeah.
talking about Zilla?
Yeah, and I was going to say
Oh
the
yeah,
American
Oh
sources.
yeah, they
I love
reference
that.
this movie is in canon with the Roland Emmerich movie.
So is it kind of a sequel to that? You know, I mean,
Oh my god.
Well,
You
I
know
read
what?
that the director put that reference in the script not because of like Dying 8 in 1998, or it was more like a shade to the 1998 film. Like, you are not Godzilla. That's not Godzilla.
Goji, you know what's hilarious? Earlier, I was texting, Emil and Joseph about me watching GMK, but I texted, "All right, I'm watching Zilla," and Castleman replies, "Godzilla '98,"
I was
and
actually
then
looking into this the other day, where it's like, yeah, apparently they're like, hey, we need another. I think it was for this Godzilla movie in 2004. They're like, oh, we need another monster for this movie, and they're like, hey,
Oh,
what if we use the one from the Roland Emmerich movie because he looks so different? I was like, oh, do we have the rights to that? And they looked into it, was like, oh yeah, we have complete rights to use the Roland Emmerich Godzilla. So they officially brand him as Godzilla because he's not intelligent enough to be a god, basically. And yeah, they used him in that movie.
he
yeah,
has
that
not
movie's
achieved
called God of
Super
War.
Saiyan God.
He's just a
he
Zilla.
he thinks he's part of the team.
He's very much like
Blood.
Barbie. Like, Godzilla is Barbie, and Zilla is just Zilla. Just
Oh
Ken.
god.
I would
Oh,
low key watch a remake of Barbie, but it's Godzilla and
You know, Castleman. You know what I would say about that? I would say that's awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
that's awesome.
hey!
Hey.
Had
All right,
to force that out of him, but I got it.
we got
We
it. We
got
got it.
it.
We
We
got
got
it.
it. It's in the can.
Yeah.
Have you
I
said
in the
"oh
can.
boy" yet on this episode, Goji?
I think when I introduced myself, when Emil said that I should introduce myself, I said literally, "Oh boy, where do I
Well,
begin?"
okay. We have at least two "oh boys," and I think I'm happy with that. You said you had
I'm,
two fun facts. Do you have another one, Goji?
Oh yeah, when you guys mentioned that the film came in 2001, I just looked it up, and GNK, well, it released in Japan in like 15th of December. It was 4 days shy away of the release of The Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh wow!
wow.
There you go.
Imagine that as a double
But
feature.
so there was a
Yeah.
time in theaters in Japan where you could do a double feature of Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, and Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah all in one giant monster, all on attack.
Wait,
Also,
when was Fellowship of the Ring released in Japan? I just want to make sure it was
oh,
released in. I'm looking this up real
uh,
quick. Hold on. Uh
Can't be lying to our audience now, you know.
when
it
I
was
mean,
not released until February of 2004.
oh, I
Oh,
mean, The
so
Lord of the Rings was released worldwide.
I
Lord of the
mean,
Rings.
come on, Japan, they gotta focus on their own films first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Yep.
in a really big multiplex, GMK would have still been playing, and you could have seen Fellowship on the Ring on its like opening weekend and GMK. So there's
Yeah.
always a possibility out there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this other fun fact of the film, and it's actually very interesting because it's related with the production.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
the film originally was supposed to not include Mothra King Ghidorah. It was actually gonna be called. Hear this out. Godzilla X Baron, Baragon, and Anguirus Giant Monster Solo Attack. And
Wow.
well,
Wow.
Baron and
Oh
Gears are
wow.
also monsters from the Toho roster. Like, Baron had a film in 1958. He's
Oh,
not
so
that popular.
Baragon wasn't new for this movie. So Baragon already showed up from a previous Godzilla movie.
Well, he not in a Godzilla film per se, but he was in a Toho monster film that was called Frankenstein
So
Conquers the World.
this was a crossover.
Interesting.
Yeah. He's in that film. It's from the mid 60s.
Okay, that's an interesting fact that I didn't know. That's
That's
cool.
interesting.
Yeah. Wait. That's the name of the film in the United States. Actually, the name of the film in Japan, it was called Frankenstein versus Baragon.
Wow, Frankenstein versus
There
Baragon. So he
Alright.
had a title. All right.
you go.
Well,
Yeah. And Baron was gonna be in GNK for the beginning, but Baron and Anguirus were gonna be there instead of Mothra and King Ghidorah. Baron is pretty much like kind of like in the know in terms of like monsters that Godzilla fans know. Anguirus is probably one that I seen casuals know as well because like he was in the 60s, 70s Godzilla films, particularly in one in the 70s when Godzilla talks. That is called Godzilla versus Gigan. And in the American dub, they make him talk like, "Hey, Anguillas, something funny is going on."
new Goji voice unlocked.
Hell yeah.
And well, the director Shusuke Kaneko introduced the script to Toho, and because the previous two films for the Millennium Era in Japan, Godzilla 2000 and versus Megaguirus, didn't do exactly the fire in box office. They were like, nah, we got to include more marketable monsters, and that's why Mothra, King Ghidorah are in the film. And in the case of King Ghidorah, the reason why the face why of how the face of King Ghidorah looks like in the film is that's actually not his face. That's Baron's face because one of the monster designers was disappointed that Baron wasn't in the film because he loves Baron. So he decided to do a compromise and put some of Baron's facial features so King Ghidorah's three heads.
Okay. Alrighty. Cool.
Well,
Does anyone have anything else to say on the film? Because I think we're about wrapping up right now.
I'm all good. Good movie.
yeah, I
I
think
agree.
I'm good too. Well,
Fox and the Hound
I
VHS
think
movie.
Fox and the Hound VHS movie. Well, I guess we're calling it here. Thank you very much, Goji, for joining us on this episode of the Dopia
Thank you for
podcast.
being our first guest.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you, Goji. We had a
Yeah,
lot
this
of
was a
fun.
blast.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we will be doing this again.
Yeah, we'll be doing
of
this
course.
again. I think we officially locked it in. We'll be if we do when we eventually do an episode on Godzilla -1 in depth, that's when Goji will be back.
There
Yes,
we
of
go.
course. I would love to be there with you guys because like you guys are really great. I've been interacting with you guys since like 2020, and like outside of Godzilla films, like if you guys want to talk with me for a podcast of another film, like let's say Tenet or any other film, I'm all in. Like I'm all for participating in the podcast.
All right, we'll let
Thank
you know, bro.
Goji. We'll
All
let
right.
you know, Goji. Thank you so much, man. Well,
You're welcome.
Kafka, didn't you have something?
Actually, yeah.
Oh,
Well, before Kafka
yeah.
says that,
Uh-huh.
all I can say is that next episode we all are going to be really fucked up.
Oh yeah. I'd like to give a special thanks to Tommy for doing the intro and outro music that you will have heard and will be hearing. He did that for us, and I'm very, very happy with it. And yeah, first episode we'll be using it. So thanks,
Awesome.
Tommy.
Now,
And
Menzo, are you ready?
I'm ready. There it is.